What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the GolfMagic channel and welcome back to another equipment review video. Now, before we get straight into the video, if you're not subscribed yet, make sure you hit that button down below. We're trying to hit 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and we're not doing too bad, but if you're not subscribed yet, make sure you hit that button down below so you can keep up to date with all our equipment news, PGA Tour news, and all the other challenges that we do throughout 2020 and 2021. Now, if you are familiar to the channel, we've reviewed Srixon ZX7 irons and the Srixon ZX driver. Now what we're going to do today is we're going to review the Srixon ZX Fairway wood and the Srixon ZX hybrid. It needs to be said that all footage that were recorded on the course was before lockdown, so we're not breaking any rules here. So I'm sure a lot of you are familiar and are big fans of the Srixon ZX line. The Srixon ZX7 irons were the best irons I've hit in 2020, so the Srixon hybrid and Srixon Fairway wood have a lot to live up to. Now, I'm not particularly keen on hybrids in particular. For some reason, I always hook them way left. It's probably something to do with my swing and path angle, but I never put hybrids in the bag. Fairway woods are also a little bit hit and miss for me. I do prefer hitting driving irons. I struggle with the strike of them, and this fairway wood is 13.5 degrees, so it's a strong 3-wood. Let's get right into the looks of these two clubs. So if you're not familiar with the Srixon ZX range, they do have a consistent colour scheme throughout all the clubs. So from driver, fairway wood, hybrid and irons. And as you can see with the Srixon fairway wood here, it has got that black, red and white colour scheme. A little bit different to other brands such as Taylormade and Callaway. I think Taylormade, Callaway are a little bit more out there. This one is a little bit classical but still has that modern approach. This fairway wood, the 13.5 degree 3-wood, has quite a compact head, but it still does instill confidence at address. You can see it's got that carbon crown and it has the alignment line or logo, which looks a little bit odd. I do like having something on the club when you look at it at address, but this is a bit strange. Similar to the driver, but for me it looks a little bit more noticeable. Still though, the head is very compact. It's not too large, so I would recommend this initially to the better player, as well as this being a 13.5 degree 3-wood, which is pretty strong. Now going on to the hybrid was a 2-iron or 18 degree hybrid, again quite strong, and this has the similar colour scheme on this club, so that black, red, white with kind of silver finish. Again, the shiny type finish, which I do prefer for a fairway wood or hybrid, and this really tops the bunch. I do prefer this in terms of looks over to the 3-wood actually. I'm not really a fan of hybrid looks, but this one does look quite nice. Now looking down at the club, it looks a lot more neutral to the other hybrids that I've experienced. I feel like hybrids have quite a lot of draw bias, but this doesn't really look like that. It again has that carbon crown line to it, which does take a little bit of getting used to, but for a hybrid especially, I would actually prefer this to a fairway wood. Don't ask me why, I could just be crazy saying this, but I feel like it does suit a hybrid a little bit more, as it kind of separates the club face to the actual back of the club. Now let's quickly move into the technology of these clubs as well. So in terms of technology, there are a few things different between the ZX Fairway wood and the ZX hybrid. The main thing is that the ZX Fairway wood has a lightweight carbon crown which is 15% larger than previous generations and positions the mass lower. And in the ZX hybrid, it delivers a smaller footprint, so a straight face angle and squared off toe to suit a skilled player's eye and inspire confidence as you address your most challenging shots. So a lot of versatility here. But the main thing that they have in common is that they both have something which is called rebound frame technology, which is new to the Srixon ZX range. This technology offers golfers the use of a uniquely structured club, which focuses to impressively enhance both ball speed and distance on every shot. So, similar to the driver, this club is screaming distance for the fairway and for the hybrid. So I tested these two clubs at Knole Park Golf Club using the SkyTrack launch monitor. I would have preferred to use a GC quad, so if we get 100 likes in this video, I'll make sure to pit these two clubs against other leading brand competitors on the GC quad at Grays Golf when lockdown's over. So, how did I find these clubs? Let's get right into it. So before we get into it, I will say that the Srixon ZX Fairway and Hybrid, I was using the standard stiff shaft that you can get off the shelf. So if you were to purchase either of these clubs online, you would be playing the stiff shaft that I was playing on the day of testing. So getting straight into the Srixon ZX Fairway, it's an interesting one. The first thing that I noticed was the spin rate, even just off the first initial shot. I will put the data on the screen now, and as you can see, I got quite a lot of spin for this club, which I was quite surprised about, especially for a strong 3-wood. Not enough to put me off it, but the thing that did put me off it was the low launch angle that I got, which again really surprised me. So this kind of standard stock flight that I would get for this club was quite a low riser. Now,
I'm sure a lot of people are watching this right now and they're surprised as to why I'm not thinking that that's the perfect ball flight. And for some it may be, but I feel like your standard stock ball flight should be just pretty normal, and then you can have the versatility of the club to go low, high, do whatever you want with it. I still felt like there was a lot of versatility within this club, but the standard like stock shot I was hitting wasn't the one that I would really want for this club, which is why I wouldn't put it in the bag. Going away from that though, the feel that I got from this club was similar to the driver, so it did feel quite difficult to hit a bad shot, and what I said previously in that I would recommend it for a lower handicapper player, I don't think it's true. I think the looks of it is quite classical, which is why it's smaller and not as large as other competitors in 2020, but it is quite a nice club to hit, and I wouldn't cancel out any handicapper hitting this shot because it's obviously meant for the all-round golfer. It's not a ZX7 or ZX5, it's meant for everyone. So to be honest, if I was in the mid to high handicap range, I would still recommend this club, but I definitely wouldn't recommend it at the 13.5 degree fairway wood that I was testing. I'd go a little bit higher just so you can get a little bit higher launch angle, as I'm sure that 13.5 degree definitely contributed to my low launch angle that I was experiencing. And with that, let's move on to the Srixon ZX Hybrid. Now, the Srixon ZX Hybrid was in 18 degrees and a standard stiff shaft, and I'll be completely blunt with you, I was expecting this to be an absolute stinker. I thought this was going to be poor, I was going to be duck kicking it, and there was going to be no admissible footage for me to put in this video because it would all be absolute garbage. You can see that I'm not very positive about hybrids, but actually, this one really did surprise me. I haven't hit a hybrid for a few months, and they've always been poor, but again, this did produce similar results to the actual fairway wood that I hit. A little bit less in distance obviously because it's about 5 degrees less in degrees, but still pretty far, and the difference between this and the fairway wood was that this one did roll. This one was a bit lower in spin and the launch angle is pretty much what I wanted. I was actually thinking that the distance was me exactly the same between them because of how well I hit this club, but obviously the fairway wood being 13.5 degrees did push it out a little bit more. If you're kind of thinking of putting a hybrid in the bag, this is definitely one to consider because this one, more than any other club I've hit from the Srixon ZX range, I didn't hit a single bad shot with this club. I only won't put this in the bag because I don't like hybrids and I don't actually have confidence on the course with hybrids at all. But if you are someone who plays hybrids consistently, this is definitely a club to consider because I was hitting shot after shot exactly where I wanted it, and it was so pleasing to hit for a hybrid from someone who doesn't like hitting hybrids, which is quite a compliment to make. Again, this isn't a club that is down to a low handicapper or a high handicapper. This is down to anyone who wants to hit this club. So if you're in the market for a hybrid, try this one out because I think you'll be surprised as to how amazing the ball flight and amazing the feel was just from hitting range balls.
So guys, that brings us to the end of the video and the end of the review of the Srixon ZX Fairway and ZX Hybrid. As you can see, I definitely had a preference with this one. The ZX Hybrid for me was a really positive club. For someone who isn't a fan of hybrids, I actually considered putting it in my bag for a little bit, but because of my mental attitude towards hybrids and my confidence not hitting them when I'm out on the course, it's not one that I put in my bag anytime soon. But the forgiveness that I got of it made me think it's definitely a club for an all-around player. So if you're in that mid to high handicap range and you're kind of uncertain as to what hybrid you should get for 2020 or maybe for Christmas time, I'd definitely have a look at the Srixon ZX Hybrid. It comes in at retails and RRP of £229, although there's a few offers out at the moment so you can get it a little bit cheaper, which is a pretty fair price. Now the Srixon ZX Fairway, you can probably tell I wasn't really a fan of, just the main thing being that low launch, high spin combo that I don't think is that optimal for a strong 3-wood. Now, some of you may be thinking the low launch is literally because of the 13.5 degree option that we put it at, which definitely is a factor, but what's missing with this fairway wood is the customization or adjustability that other fairway woods in Taylormade, Callaway, Ping have. So I can't adjust the loft here, it's 30.5 degrees and nothing more, nothing less, which is, to be honest, it's a little bit disappointing for a fairway wood. I feel like adjustability is pretty important nowadays, but maybe in the future Srixon can include that for this line. The fairway wood comes in at an RRP of £249, although again you can get it a little bit cheaper with some offers out there at the moment. So it's completely up to you if you want to make that decision. I definitely still try the fairway wood out, but for me it's not the right club for the course conditions that I play. Maybe if you're in America that could work out for you, but here on the south coast where we're getting hit by 40-mile-an-hour winds anytime I go down towards Brighton or Eastbourne to play, that club's not going to be going 260 yards, 270 yards, that's going to be about 120 yards. So not the club for me. I hope you guys enjoyed today's video and keeping safe throughout lockdown. If you guys have tried the Srixon ZX Fairway Wood and ZX Hybrid before, let me know how you got on and if it's been put in your bag. They're still both very exciting clubs and I'm sure a lot of you want to try them out. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you hit that button down below. We're trying to hit 10,000 subscribers by the end of the year here at GolfMagic, so we need all of your guys' help so we can hit that milestone. I hope you guys keep you safe throughout lockdown, and I'll see you guys at the next video.